2, 1. Okay, we pushed the live button. You know, it usually takes a couple of seconds there. Okay, 1. All right, guys, we're live. Tech Talk here, JayzTwoCents, and my co-host, Barnacles. Say what's up, Barn.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Guys, we have a face here that you've probably seen before, may or may not have. This is Reiv Katari here with Cooler Master. Hey, Reiv, thanks for hanging out with us tonight.
How's it going, guys? Glad to be here.
Now, guys, I can promise you, Reiv is a lot like Barnacles and I. He's going to get down to our level, and so we're going to have some fun tonight.
Yeah, we'll push those buttons. It'll be good.
Slumming.
You're slumming. Are you in the same conference room I usually meet with you in? Is that where our little secret NDA discussions?
Yeah, it is, and it's after hours, so I don't have to be professional anymore. It's fantastic.
All right, so there you go. All right, guys, we're going to play the intro, and then we'll go ahead and get right into it. It's Tech Talk, JayzTwoCents, and Barnacles. All right, so we do have some topics kind of outlined today a little bit later in the stream.
Okay,
all right, guys, we're live. I'm hearing myself. Here, why am I hearing myself? And my co-host.
I don't know. Why are you hearing yourself, Jay?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Wow. Guys, we have a face here. This is probably a whole bunch of technical retardation right now. Here with Cooler Master. Hey, Reiv, thanks for joining us tonight. Okay, Barn, go ahead and talk about something. I'm gonna figure out why I hear myself.
All right, so hey, Reiv. So a lot of people here should know who you are. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know who you are. So you can tell me all about yourself. So you're a Cooler Master guy, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I'm the marketing manager at Cooler Master. I've done a lot of the events. I've done a lot of the videos on the Newegg stuff. Mainly been the guy who kind of reached out to Jason, started working with, kind of getting the video reviews out there. So this is actually one of my very first live streams outside of Newegg.
No way. That's actually really cool.
So I'm like popping my cherry with you guys. So
hey, we got the internet's virgin over here.
Yeah.
I want to point something out, guys. I got a new chair simply because I got tired of hearing squeak, squeak, crink, every time I moved. After being on Linus's WAN show and hearing all that background noise with my chair, I was like, all right, it's time to get a fat man ready chair. And I got one of those designed for big people here. So I'm just kind of pointing that out. It's like a new chair.
Large and in charge.
Yeah, funny story, Reiv, when you contacted me. I think I told you I was actually in a movie theater when I got that tweet. And I immediately thought it was like a troll account, like somebody pretending to be Cooler Master. Because I don't know about you, Jerry, but I know people have pretended to try and be companies with me before.
Oh, yeah, I get a lot of those. And usually they're companies I've never heard of. But every once in a while they'll try to get creative and use a real one.
Yeah.
The best one is when I had somebody contact me from, I'm not even joking. Somebody messaged me and said, oh, hi, I'm a representative from Microsoft and you have a really awesome YouTube channel and we'd love to collaborate with you. Would you please share this, would you please share this video link? And I'm like, guys, I openly say I work for Microsoft.
Yeah, but there's like 25,000 people on your campus, so it could have been anybody.
I think it's closer to 50 now, 50,000. Yeah, 50,000 in Redmond. It's crazy. I think we have close to 150,000 worldwide. We're a big company, man.
Yeah, that's just a little company.
Just all making it rain.
So, Reiv, Cooler Master is undoubtedly probably one of the leading companies when it comes to computer cases and coolers, and you guys have really branched out now into the peripherals market over the last couple of years. So what can we expect to see from Cooler Master in 2014? I mean, I know we showed some stuff at CES, but that's usually just like early samples of what to expect in the year. So what can we expect from you guys?
I mean, a lot of the things that we're doing now, and especially starting at CES, was just really getting to show people and then watching the YouTube comments, watching the forum posts, and really going back and kind of fixing up products. We've seen a lot of criticism on certain product lines, and essentially now we are focusing on what people want. So our mechanical keyboards, we're streamlining them, covering all the features we want. We're adding our new Nova Touch line for the keyboards as well. For mice, we're bringing that iconic design, which is, very classic mouse with a flawless optical sensor. And then also things like our Pulsar headset, which can be nice and customizable.
Yeah, look at that.
You're wearing your ones. We're actually got custom ones from Smooth Creations. So we're really just taking a lot of the feedback, implementing these things. Water cooling as well is big for us, like our Glacier series. Partnering with SwiftTech, allowing them to be expandable, but really giving you that raw performance as well. So there's just a lot of different areas that we cover. And that's kind of the strength and weakness of us, is that I can talk about so many things, And sometimes it's hard for people to realize what is our focus
Well,
product.
it's like it's almost like trying to find that balance too of being a jack of all trades, but still trying to master something. Because you take on too much in your product line, then you have to spread all that attention. And it's do you create the perfect product in one area and then just a kind of a novice line in the rest? Or balancing that. Just so many products that you guys carry. And I want to ask you a question. The company that painted your Pulsar panels, are they local to us?
I'm not sure. It's Smooth Creations. I personally don't work with them a lot. We have a lot of the other teammates work with them. But what we're trying to do is kind of get them in contact with people to get like these aluminum series, like the mech. Like we have this is your favorite Reaper mouse. It's also customized.
Ooh, look at that.
So it matches the headset. And then also here's actually.
Hey, Rajiv, hold up. Can I have that? Can I have that mouse and that keyboard?
This is the mech too. Yeah. So basically the idea behind the whole lineup was for you to customize it how you want. So yeah, Jerry, we should get you a Barnacles version. You gotta custom paint it though, man.
Well, I already told you guys. You guys contacted me on Twitter, and I was like, if you send me that keyboard with those metal inserts, I'll pull them out. I'll 3D print stencils and paint the whole thing. It'll be awesome.
Yeah. Actually, that's me contacting you.
Is it? Oh, so you know who you are.
Yeah.
Your name on Twitter is like Cooler Master or something.
Yeah, it's Cooler Master USA.
Well, he's not only marketing manager, but you kind of are a little bit of a community manager too, right? It's kind of a.
Yeah, I wear a lot of hats right now. It's something that in the future will kind of expand out. But yeah, I've been really focused on growing like on YouTube, which is why, again, I reached out to you, and also why I want to work with Jerry as well in the future, just to kind of let people know, because I think YouTube is such a strong platform. Back in the days, everybody would go to like Tom's Hardware and read about it. Now you can watch you review it.
I go to YouTube for everything now. Like seriously, I just skip the search engine altogether.
Well, let's be honest. It doesn't matter what you're searching.
Porn, but that's eventually they'll let porn on YouTube, right?
It doesn't matter what you're searching. YouTube video comes up no matter what. No matter what.
Yeah, and on our end, we're looking at doing things like, even product manuals. Back in the day, you would think installation of a water cooler on video, it didn't make a lot of sense because you would need the computer to watch it. But now because you can pull it up on cell phone or tablet, it actually makes sense for us to start creating installation guides. And so we're going to go forward with a lot more interactive content like that. So people can really get in touch with the product. We really want to simplify it. At the end of the day, we know the big complaints is like you open up the manual, you got like 8 languages. It's very difficult.
I've never read a manual, ever.
I don't either. And
I plug everything in, and as long as Magic Smoke doesn't come out, if it doesn't work, the next step is to go to YouTube and be like, all right.
Let's face it. Let's be honest. Like 90% of the computer world regarding peripherals or manufacturing of components is all controlled by Asia, and some of the manuals
that was racist, Jay. That was
no, that's not racist.
Just take it down.
That's economic. But let's be honest here. How many of those manuals can you really read and comprehend? There's times where it's like, all right, F this.
Here, let me take you guys on a little time traveling trip. I remember back when I used to buy like my really old motherboards. We're talking back in the 386, 486 days, okay? Yeah. And I remember you'd pull the board out and there'd be 3 million jumpers on it. The entire board would just be comprised of jumpers. Yeah. And you'd pull out the manual and it would just have 100 pages of different charts. And you wouldn't understand any of the settings. It'd be like, move the jumper here. This one had to be here. And there'd be like 5 different combinations of jumpers just to set like the voltage on the CPU. And if you fucked it up, like smoke would come out.
Oh, yeah.
And I've killed my fair share of electronics fucking up. So I'm glad that now the motherboards are like, you plug everything where it fits, you turn it on, and everything else figures it out for you.
We're so spoiled now because now motherboards even have it labeled. Like before, it used to be like, okay, JP01. What's JP01? You go to the manual, look it up. Oh, okay, it's front power. Now it's like PWR, and if it doesn't have it, you're like, what the fuck is this? I don't want to spend 5 minutes looking it up.
Like Jay, don't even lie. When you plug in your motherboard, you literally just poke the cables at the holes until it snaps into place, right? I mean,
for the most part.
That's what I do, and it gets me by all right. I remember the motherboard headers? You used to have to get the positive lead for the LED just perfect, and then the rest of it.
But now you have reverse polarity. It just goes right no matter what because it's LED.
Yeah, exactly. Now you've got the freaking block that they send with the motherboard that you plug everything onto, and it's like impossible to screw up because everything's keyed, and then you just plug that whole thing onto the board and you're done.
I don't even use those though because they're so damn ugly. Usually it's like you have this nice like ROG board, right? It's black and red. It's all themed. They give you a white block.
No, dude, I feel you. That's horrible.
JJ, I hope you're watching. Fix that shit.
Yeah, seriously. But as far as Cooler Master, my experience with Cooler Master, especially back in the day, I'm not going to lie, I haven't had a Cooler Master case in a while. I kind of went off on this whole Antec kick thing, which I'm over now. But I still have a Cooler Master case. I wish I could pull it out for you guys. It's like 10 or 12 years old, sitting in my attic back there, and I think it still has a Pentium motherboard in it. And it was a beast. I like the Cooler Master case because you could get some big ones back in the day.
And the sellout comments would begin. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, yeah. Guys, I'm selling out Cooler Master right now. Rajiv, please send me just lots of free stuff.
Yeah.
Just, Rajiv, you can just put his check in the box. It's all good.
Do I pay you guys now? Can I PayPal you right now? Is everybody?
Yeah, guys. Yeah, no, I accept PayPal and untraceable municipal bearer bonds. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Can I pay you guys in coolers?
No, I accept Bitcoin. Dude, PayPal's for
Hey,
there we go.
Have you guys heard that Tiger Direct is going to start accepting Bitcoin?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Did you see that? What is it? It's Subway or McDonald's in Japan accepts Bitcoin now.
It's crazy.
It's like, how does that even work? Do you walk in and be like, like a Whopper, and they got to take your cell phone and show them the hash code, and they got to scan it? Like, how do you do that?
Here's what I don't get. Here's what I don't get about that is I just over the last week have started working with Lutro Customs, which is all like sleeving, right? It's like MMPC tech, but it's just the sleeving side of it, and just gobs and gobs of sleeving. I was looking through their catalog, right? Connectors and pins and cables and sleeves and colors, and all of a sudden you could buy Bitcoins, and you could buy a Bitcoining like setup, and that just seems really random. I'm looking at sleeving, and all of a sudden it's like buy your Bitcoins, and it was like $1,000, and I'm like, holy shit, that's just for the Bitcoins.
No, you'd have to be stupid to buy Bitcoins right now. I mean, that bubble already burst once. It's going to happen again. Everybody knows the real money's in Litecoins. No, that's what you do. Until
you say that because you're NVIDIA fanboy.
Or Dogecoin. What is it? Dogecoin?
Yeah. I don't even know. Dogecoin, Doggy Coin. I don't know.
Coin West is another one. So, I mean,
I can't even keep up with it. I don't
know.
Digital currencies are a scam that I'm falling for because it's fun to make your computer heat the house. Anyways.
All right, Rajiv. So how has the reception been on the stacker? What's some of the feedback that you've been getting? I know I gave you guys some.
Yeah, I think definitely with the half stacker, I mean, the fact that the idea behind it was something that we wanted to kind of give people an ability to do something different. Our biggest criticism is going to be that it's a half case, and we've been doing half for a very long time. But what's funny is that as much as people, we see a lot of criticism on it, it's still the number one selling case that we see from like business side. So we know that there's a market there. But what we're trying to do is try to expand what you can do with the stacker, and that's things like isolated radiators, building dual systems. A lot of people are doing complex computing. Puget Systems just released a dual Xeon HAF 915 that you can stack on top of one another. So a lot of really cool ideas are now coming out outside of just the aesthetics being kind of the negative aspect.
Yeah, well,
people think the aesthetics are. They don't like the aesthetics of that. I think that's like your best looking case, personally.
Well, there's one thing I don't like about the aesthetics, and I'll just say it now, because it's kind of worn on me over time. Like, the case is in another room. I actually have to have a whole nother bedroom that I store all the stuff in, right? And it's just full of cases. And the half stacker's there, and I look at it, and what I don't like is the way it looks between the cases. How it kind of has that like indentation, kind of a V shape. Like,
I thought that was badass. It's like a delineation.
See, I don't really like that. I like a smooth front.
Yeah, it's a hate it or love it thing. And I mean, at the end of the day, a lot of our competitors are going for the brushed aluminum look, and it seems to be the trend. But again, at the end of the day, we see that these things go in trends. Like now, Mini ITX, everybody's going crazy.
Yeah.
Like our Elite 110 is like selling like crazy. People want small Steam boxes.
Guys, look at the size of this box. I mean, the camera doesn't really pick it up. I mean, this is only like maybe a 13 by 13 cubed box, and there's a case in here surrounded in foam. That's how small this thing is.
No, but I want the stacker so that I can put my streaming computer in the top piece, that little itty bitty guy, and then put my behemoth VM server in the bottom half, and just have it all look like one awesome badass piece of machinery.
It's basically 12 by 12. It says this is 1 cubic foot, and there's a case in there surrounded by protective foam to show you how small it is. I mean, I showed a little piece of it from CES, and you sent me this a little while back. I just haven't gotten around to it yet, but it's that trend, right? Everyone wanted big cases, and now everyone wants small stuff because of Steambox and whatever else.
I mean, it's just like overnight things change, and we just try to provide options available to whatever. Like Jerry said with the stacker, I mean, there are an enthusiast crowd that absolutely love it. There's an half stackers overclocking club, or sorry, on overclock.net, there's owners club. And they do all sorts of crazy stuff with it. That's kind of what we want. We want to inspire people to kind of have a canvas to build like that dream system.
Well, I look at it every day, and I go to that OCN or the overclocking forums and look at the owners club all the time to get ideas. And You know me. I've said it to you personally. I require 480 rad support, but I also know how easy it is to mod that case to accept it. I showed it in my video that they physically fit in there, and so, being that one of my sponsors is a modding site where you can get any kind of mod material you need for any case mod. I've already got a cart put together that I haven't pushed the button on yet because I'm just still weighing if I want to take the time to do the mod. Because if I'm gonna case mod, I'm gonna take my time with it. I've never been in a situation where I could take the time to case mod properly without a system. Now that I have two systems,
Jay, I'll 3D print anything you want for that project if you do it.
Yeah, I dual 480 rads in the bottom. They'll fit. The brackets are there. The new grill cover to cut the side panel would be there. But I want to do it right, and I think I'm going to do it. As much as I love my 900D, ultimately I like separated. And my biggest complaint about the 900D, quite honestly, and I paid for this case, it has nothing to do with whether you guys sent the stacker or not. I have the same criticisms.
Goddamn sellout.
The 900D case, I thought the 900D case had separated lower compartment. I didn't realize it was one big open case, and I wanted that separated airflow, and I can tell just by the dust pattern in this case that there's airflow problems based on the lower rads. So with the stacker, at least I can separate that out, and I like that concept.
And I mean, we're going to be bringing the accessory kits so people can do different things with them, like more water cooling support, more hard drive cages, things like that, just to kind of expand on that, more power buttons. Anything that people really want, we listen to. I mean, like, I'm seeing comments right now, and I'm just ready to answer these guys right away, but I know that we're coming out with products that are going to really fit what they're looking for. But at the end of the day, it's just that feedback and community feedback that continues to drive what we want to do.
I don't think people realize how big the wheels are to turn to get a case made, let alone revisioned.
It is very intense. It's very expensive. I mean, and if you don't make that money back, it's like it doesn't make sense from a business standpoint. I think a lot of people forget at the end of the day there is a business element to it, and that's what kind of sucks is that we are enthusiasts, but I mean,
business element. It's all about the people, man. It's about just throwing copious amounts of money that comes out of the ethereal.
You heard it here, guys. Cooler Master's all about the dollar. They don't care.
Sellouts trying to make money.
Some money. I'm taking your money. No, but really, taking product that you want that will make you say take my money, right?
I want to ask you a question about the hard. You're mentioning the more hard drives. Have you ever seen anybody put 24 fucking hard drives into like a mini tower, like a mid tower case? Like, why?
Well, I mean, no, you know what? People who do rendering systems who are doing insane video collections, I don't know. The idea is that sometimes people want to do it, but those spaces can be used for a lot of different things. Like I said, isolated cooling you can do for one section and then add hard drives to the other section, so you can isolate those components. Again, people do crazy things. We've seen people buy, 3 GTX 780 Ti's, and they're playing Battlefield 4 on a one-monitor system.
No, I agree. As long as you can change them out. That's the thing. As long as you can change them out. But God, I went to Fry's Electronics a couple of days ago, and I was walking down their case aisle there, and I can't remember the name of the case, but they had one case there that seriously looked like, I mean, it was straight out of Star Trek. It looked like the fucking Borg cube had a baby, and and the inside of it seriously had like 24 little hard drive slots, and they didn't look like they were removable. It just looked like they were built as a part of the case. And I was just thinking to myself, I was like, What in the holy hell? I can't keep a hard drive alive for 6 months, let alone 24 of them. I'd imagine they'd be RMA and shit out of that like every 15 minutes.
Rajiv, I want to step in here real quick and ask a question because I'm kind of interested too. I'm pretty sure there's still NDA, but people are kind of wondering a ballpark on the XC, the HAF XC.
So yeah, I just typed it out in chat. We got a lot of feedback during CES on our Facebook page, on all the videos that
was still a prototype, right?
It was a very early prototype, so everything was going to change. We are currently in the redesign phases. I was in a meeting yesterday to see kind of some of the sketch and mock-ups of what they want to change it. It looks really nice. Yeah. I wouldn't expect it anytime soon, but we are redesigning that heavily. So
I have to ask though, is there lots of shiny aluminum involved?
I don't know yet because I just saw sketches and mock-ups, so it was like
I'm just saying,
not a very
aluminum's sexy. Person. I like it anodized black. I like it shiny silver.
Like
metal's good.
They've got to find a way to aesthetically make that window wrap where it wraps around look good and clean where it re-meets the case, because otherwise it literally looks like just a cheap little just a plastic piece plopped on there. So it's going to be tough, but at the same time too, you guys have to make it unique from the Carbide 540. Is that what Corsairs is? Something like that. sideways oriented cases?
Well, that case copied the HAF XB. So let's say like it's and so the HAF XC is just basically a response to the HAF XB, but turning it on its side
with better radiator support, because the HAF XB lacks that type of support.
Yeah.
And it's like, the HAF XB fit the Glacier 240 in there perfectly, but now that my test bed has 2 times 360 radiator support, it's like, well, now a Glacier 360 would be the better option, which would also fit inside that case, the XC. I like the concept of it. Looking forward to seeing what it looks like when it's matured, though.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that there was a lot of space that was kind of, I want to say, wasted in a way. Like, it was just very big, and we wanted to try to utilize that space a little bit better. So again, just community feedback, what we heard from people. I mean, we're open to criticism at the end of the day. The idea behind everything we're doing, even like power supplies, for example, we've gone back and really tried to instill the confidence in that. So we have a lot of testing done on our water coolers. I know a lot of people use our major competitors' stuff, but if you do a head-to-head comparison, man, we're switching up our game a lot, and we're going really, really aggressive this year. So I won't name drop. I know I don't want anybody to kind of make this my soapbox or anything like that, but I just really want to encourage people to try out our products. And at the end of the day, I'm here to help support people through our Twitter, Facebook, and even here.
And at the end of the day, for us reviewers, we honestly, I know Jerry and I really strive to give an unbiased opinion. And no matter what, people are going to say that, we're biased. And I think we all have a little bit of bias in us. It's just part of human nature. But yeah, I mean, that's why we try and give you guys as much information as we can about these products. Because, I mean, Jerry and I, we're in a real interesting position where we get to try out so many products, without really having to be out of pocket for it that we otherwise could have never done. But the consumers have like one shot, especially if the item's being shipped to them. They've got to try and become a prosumer, get it shipped to them, and hope they made the right choice. All based on zero touch and zero, interaction with it.
Yeah.
Because we're lucky. We live near a Fry's, a Micro Center. Newegg is right down the street, and they have storefronts popping up now. But most of these people have to buy purely off of pictures and customer reviews.
And honestly, I mean, at the end of the day, when you get the support, which is what, like I said, I make myself very accessible through our Facebook, our Twitter. When somebody has an issue and they feel like there's nowhere to go, we try to make them at least have some type of option. And typically, it's me or somebody else on the marketing team who kind of goes out there and reads the forums, just tries to make it known, like, hey, you know what? We're not here to like I said, take your money and run. We definitely we're enthusiasts by nature. Like, I have been a gamer since I was a little kid. So working in this industry, talking about a product I believe in is going to be important. And I know people get crazy about the whole sellout stuff. It's really, I mean, what are you going to expect, right? People are going to hate. Haters going to hate.
Yeah, and it's just part of the territory, though. When you're a reviewer, I mean, there's those people out there that are going to believe that no matter what, you're going to say whatever the company wants you to say. But I mean, at least I can honestly say that I've really yet to interact with a company that has tried to tell me say this, say that. So at least I mean, you can tell the world I made it very clear with you that I control all my content. So and that's the big thing as a reviewer, because we have to make people trust what we're gonna say. And where the hell is Jerry? Damn it! I've been trying to call him back. I think his hamster fell off the wheel.
Well, I think people are kind of bored of me talking about how great Cooler Master is, so maybe we can just take some of their questions. I can answer some stuff here.
Yeah, see, the difference is you're literally paid to say that. I'm not. Yeah. So, yeah, guys, so Rajiv's going to be here for the probably next 10 or 15 minutes. Let us know what you guys want to talk about. I mean, he can talk about any product questions that you have, compatibility stuff. I know one thing I kind of wanted to touch on a little bit was the concept of the vapor chamber cooling that are in some of your cooling towers.
Yeah, so I mean, vapor chamber technology is something that we've introduced mostly to CPU cooling. We do a lot of cooling technologies behind the scenes. Like, it's really crazy. I can't really say who we cool for, but I mean, if you look at all the major consoles and things like that, you would find like Cooler Master technology somewhere in there. So where we take that to the retail product for the end user, vapor chamber was something that we saw for the overclocking enthusiasts. People who aren't necessarily wanting to go to water cooling. So a lot of people out there still don't feel safe about it for whatever reason, but they want a really great air cooler. Vapor chamber was kind of designed for that. And I don't want to get technical. I know how your audience gets about the technical stuff. So if you guys want to learn more about that, I would say go to our cmuniversity.net website. There's a whole article on it. And actually, in a couple weeks, we'll be running a campaign around it where you can win some great prizes like our TPC 812 and also our V8 GTS cooler.
Yeah, I mean, everybody loves free stuff, that's for sure. Yeah, I mean, you're right. There's a lot of people that are afraid of all-in-one, or water cooling in general. Custom loops are all-in-one. I think people, for the most part, they kind of expect all-in-one cooling units not to leak. Whoa, all of a sudden you got huge. Let's try. It's because Jerry dropped off the call. Okay, well, part of your face is in one part of the screen, part of he's on the other. All right. Yeah, guys, I have no idea what happened to Jerry. He probably is having some internet issues because he lives up in the boonies of Seattle, outskirts of Seattle. He has 3 internet connections to make up for what 1 connection we have out here. So who knows what happened. But yeah, when it comes to water cooling, I mean, there are the non-conductive coolants. The only problem with that is depending on how long you run them in your system, they do become conductive over time. They pick up ions from the metals and such. But guys, we're talking about coolant, actually, I just wanted to kind of show you a little teaser of some upcoming stuff. Dragon Ice finally sent me some samples. I got 2 bottles of their Dragon Ice. It's their nano fluid. It's very similar to the Mayhems that I'm currently using, with one major difference. And the reason why I'm quick to get this dyed properly and get it in my system is Mayhem's is actually toxic. It is legitimately toxic. It's even in the warnings. They're like, don't put it down the drain, don't put it down the gutter. It has to be handled with hazmat. And so that's kind of bothersome. The Dragon Ice is not toxic. So
hey, so I noticed somebody mentioned something about the Striker, the white case. We do have something down the line, so that's kind of an exclusive. I shouldn't probably say anything about that, but we are going to be revisiting a lot of some of the better classic cases with new improvements.
I know the Storm was one of your popular cases too for a while there.
Yeah, Storm, the whole series of like Striker, Trooper, all those cases. I mean, personally, those are some of my favorite cases. They're old school, but man, when you build in them, they're so nice.
Yeah.
And then building in like the Elite 110, I mean, even though you think it's like a little cramped space, it's actually pretty fun and easy. So
I'm going to try and fix your portrait here real quick because I don't know. I'll just leave it. So
is that
sorry.
me? Oh.
Yeah, it's because of the way that the Skype call works, and once Jerry's call dropped off, it jacked everything up. So, yeah, guys, I apologize. I have absolutely no idea what happened to Jerry. So, let's see. Joshua.
I like that. Yo, Cooler Master Dude.
Yeah, he knows your name. That's what we call you on the side. Hey, Cooler Master Dude. So what does he say here? Why doesn't Cooler Master have like more than 2 orange cases? Oh gosh. Orange is my favorite color. I'll speak to it. I'll let you answer, guys. You gotta understand those off colors like that. They market to a very, very select crowd of somebody who would want that color, and they market and produce to the masses with some offshoots that are a little more enthusiast like that.
The problem with stuff like that is it becomes very expensive, and sometimes we look at the market research and we see, okay, what are people willing to pay for that type of case? It just doesn't make sense to anybody. And while we put it out there, we think businesses like Smooth Creations or even people who are modders and just paint it themselves, it's just a more cost-effective solution. It allows you to kind of have somebody who wants to mod do that. Like a lot of people always want the Cosmos 2 side window, right? And we found that bringing it in all the way from our factory in Taiwan would cost so much. Meanwhile, Lee at PC Junkie Mods can do it for you for much cheaper. And hell, it's a business for him to...
Hold on, guys. I hate Skype. Okay.
Oh, what happened there?
Jerry called me, but I need to add him to this call. When I tried to answer it, it muted you or like put you on hold.
I was mid-sentence, man.
Yeah, sorry about that. This wouldn't be Tech Talk if we didn't have all these horrible problems.
No worries. But like I was saying, just like the Cosmos 2 Windows, you can get it from PC Junkie Mods. So again, the orange case thing, it's tough. It's a tough crapshoot on that one. But like I said, I can always pass it on to my product managers. I mean, it's not like something that it's not impossible to do, but.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I at least like about you guys is I know that you guys lurk in the comment sections. At least I know you do on my videos, and I'm sure you do with your other media partners too. I mean, that's one of the reasons why the mech keyboard was delayed, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we wanted to make sure that it came out right. Like some people noticed that there was a little bit of a bleed at the bottom of it when we showed it off last year at CES, and we were like, well, it's going to be a lot of retooling and it's going to cost, a little bit of money, but we don't want to launch the product and then just have that as the main complaint. That's dumb. It doesn't make a lot of sense. So, I mean, we got to sometimes just take a step back and really make sure that we get what people want.
Yeah. Let's see what other comments. Hey, I have a CM Cosmos 2 best case ever. I haven't gotten a chance to personally build in the Cosmos 2, but I have looked at it in person at like Fry's and stuff. It seems pretty nice because it's like the Cosmos 2, but or is it the Cosmos SE is the smaller version, right? You guys kind of shrunk it down.
Yeah, it's a much smaller version. We saw a lot of people wanted the Cosmos look, but not as big as a Cosmos 2. So the Cosmos SE just kind of fits that little niche audience and just try to make people happy with the outlook of it.
Right. Okay, guys, we got a few more minutes here with Rajiv from Cooler Master. All of a sudden, the background went black. Wow, we are having just all kinds of problems. I love this.
Is this my fault?
No, this isn't your fault. This is Skype's fault. There we go. Okay, what do you guys expect from the GTX 790? I expect two 780s. Quite honestly, it's what the trend has always been. A little bit underclocked, but hey. I'd like to see a case from Cooler Master compete with the 750D. Well, I think that's a bit opinion. There's a lot of opinion in there because the 750D, Cooler Master or Corsair has quite a wide range of lines now in that Obsidian series, and they all just seem to kind of be like slightly smaller than the higher number. They just get tinier and tinier all the way down to that 250D.
I would just say, like, what exactly is he looking for? Is he looking for that? Because again, this goes back to it. Is the one factor that they're looking at is the brushed aluminum outlook, or is it actually the specs? Because if we come out with a half version of that, does that stop them from going that route? Is it just the look? There's a lot of other factors. So we can always compare things, but nobody wants all the cases to look the same. And that's kind of where, we sometimes do have these really aggressive looks, and that either people love it or they hate it. So that kind of question, I would love for that guy to elaborate a little bit more on that.
Yeah, I mean, I've looked at the 750D. Obviously, I own a 900D. It just seems to be like kind of shrunk down to about 80% of what a 900D is. That really is what it feels like anyway. Minus the lower compartment with side-mounted radiators and power supply. That's about it. Okay, let's see here. So, for keyboards and such, as the Rapid CM sells shrouds for them, will we possibly see these in more colors?
So, I mean, we don't have more colors, but we do sell blank top covers, which people can buy and they can modify. So you can actually buy it through the CM store, and you can use Jay's code to get a discount on those things. It's really cheap, and you can just mod them however you want. But yeah, in terms of colors and things like that, it's just so hard to gauge what colors will work and what won't. So we typically play it safe with kind of the black and gray design before. But now everything's all black because, I mean, really, when we look at what the market says, everybody's buying the black ones. It's like, all right, well, we might as well just focus our efforts on that.
Yeah. You see, I like colors, obviously, and black and yellow is kind of like the color theme I've had going on here for a while. But, guys, I mean, honestly, if you want custom colors in your case, I'm the kind of guy that would be the first person to tell you, get out some sandpaper, get out some primer, and make a case your own. I mean, painting a case is probably the easiest mod to do, and honestly, you can then turn it into any color you want. In fact, that's one of the things I want to do too. Not only when I modify the stacker, is not just customize it to accept dual 480 rads, but also I want to do probably some acrylic work on the inside. Do the typical mod everyone seems to be doing now, where they kind of like block off the side of the hard drive cages and they side mount the SSDs in there. I just like that super clean look.
Yeah, and I'm seeing a lot of people talk about just caught my eye about the Cosmos 2 and asking about different things about why it's limitations. It's a very old case. I think a lot of people forget that it's almost like 3 years old or something like that. So I mean, a lot of the times the technology, what we've adapted to, and which is why we're introducing new lines of cases. I mean, but the Cosmos 2 look is so kind of iconic in a way. That whole line is always kind of standing out at events and things like that. So,
what was the name of the case you guys came out with right around 2008, 2009, where it had like 4 side-mounted 120s?
That's before my time, man. I I haven't been here that long.
It might have been. It might have. No, it wasn't a Cosmos. I can't remember what it was, but it was all aluminum. It was like one of the first all aluminum cases had a swing outdoor, and I think the Cosmos evolved. That evolved into the Cosmos. But yeah, I mean, you can't deny that Cooler Master's been around a long time and is a big player in the case arena. That is for sure.
I would just love, again, like, a lot of times with water cooling and power supplies, especially because we see, a lot of people talk about the same competitor products. I mean, if they see how far we've come, like on the Neptons, on the V series, I think they're going to be very pleasantly surprised. Like a V series 5-year warranty, we got you covered on that. For the Neptons, the performance is fantastic. We just want people to be more aware of kind of our offerings, because we're not just the Cosmos company, We're not just the quick fire rapid company. We do so many different things. I mean, like the Pulsars, to me, I know you had a couple issues with the inline mic, and I would agree with you on that. But I think the sound quality is amazing. I think that the way it fits, like I'm wearing them, it's comfortable, and sometimes the sound cancellation is just so good that it sometimes kind of trips me out.
Yeah. Hey, Jerry's back.
Hey, Jerry, what's going on?
Hey, what's up, guys? I just had some problems with my router.
Oh, that's terrible.
He jumps back in right about the time I get the screen region fixed for you, Rajiv. All right, Jerry's back.
What's up, guys?
Let's see. Yeah, you know what? I didn't get there's so many things I'm so behind on. I still need to do a complete review of the Nepton 140 that I have in the other brand's ITX case, the fractal case that I took to CES. I was 100% pleasantly surprised at how cool the Nepton 140 XL did. I'm going to tell you right now, because I know how bad Intel's thermal paste issues have been under their heat spreader. I was like, okay, I'm going to have to run this thing at stock speed. It's in a tiny little case. It's a single 140 rad. It's probably going to be hot as hell, So I just went ahead and said, screw it. I put it in, and then I put my 4670 up to like 4 gigs, and then just kind of went with it, did some benchmarking, and it was maxing in like the 50s. I was able to push that all the way up to about, tell them we kind of got a show going on here. Hello. No, I'm kidding. So, so I was surprised, guys. The Nepton 140 XL really did tame that 4670 all the way up to 4.4. I still need to do a video on that. God, I'm so far behind. You guys are going to start hating me over there. But all right, guys. What's that?
It's all good. I mean, as long as you get to cover all the products, I mean, that's kind of the big thing. As long as people are aware, I really want people to test this stuff. I mean, that's why I reached out to you. I feel like you do a great job in terms of testing the cooling, like the palm bearings for the jet flows, like the detail that's involved. I think it's really important for people to understand that, because when they understand the technologies, then they know what to buy. They're more of an informed shopper. Yeah. I would hate for anybody just to buy a Cooler Master product just because it's from Cooler Master. I don't like that.
There's people out there that will do that. I mean, there are people out there that will have blind brand loyalty, but I mean, at least as people do the research about the company and make their right decision, whatever company that happens to be. I mean, I tell people all the time, I go with what works for me at the time. That's why I'm not brand loyal to Intel or AMD or Nvidia. It's whatever works for me at the time, and that's what's most important. And you guys should shop that way too. Shop all companies, not just the ones that you hear everyone squawking about.
And Flopman's asking if we're adding any other products to their line. Yeah, we have a lot of mobile product lines. So we do notebook coolers, aluminum stands for your tablets, phones. I mean, while that's not the enthusiast market, it's actually very popular. A lot of our quality products, it kind of extends to that line too. But
yeah.
Of course, here, that's
case in point. Go into an Apple store and look at the amount of accessories. I mean, there's a market. It's just not necessarily the PC people that we're talking to.
It's not you guys. It's not you guys. I'm not going to come up with a stand and show you guys like my little tablet stand here. But
all you got to do is stick an LED on it, and now it's gamer.
There you go. There you go.
All right. Well, Rajiv, I appreciate you stopping by and talking with us and coming down to our level here. We're definitely going to have you back. But I think next time maybe we'll do something on location or some sort of a project.
I'll roll down there and
that'd be cool.
Do a build or something.
Yeah, if Jerry ever gets his ass on an airplane and flies down here like he keeps promising. It's now February. It's now February. February is when you said you were coming down. When is it now? June?
When I'm goddamn good and ready.
Yes, that's first world problems. Look at you. When I'm ready.
Problems. I got as soon as I get work stabilized and everything is where it needs to be and I have my Zen moment, then yes, I will be on an airplane.
Your Zen moment.
A Zen moment.
All right, Rajiv. Thanks for hanging out with us today.
Take care.
Yeah, it was fun, man.
Guys,
again.
We'll come on again.
The video is archived as always, guys. If you have more questions for Rajiv, put them down in the comment section, and if he doesn't see them, I can hit him up and get some answers for you guys if you have any other questions. So
at Cooler Master USA, just shoot me a tweet. I mean, I'm always on there. I'm always answering questions. And remember, guys, check out our full product line at coolermaster-usa.com. Thanks a lot, guys. I really appreciate it, and enjoy those pulsars, Jay. I know I am.
Where's my pair?
They're super comfy.
I'll get you one, Jerry.
I'm the enthusiast here, come on.
You've got to send him like 10 of them to make up for his audio file.
I know, yeah, Jerry. I don't want to send you a pulsar and then you comparing them to like $500 headphones. Like,
It's okay. I got the I
500.
I cater to all types. Okay, I got a $20 pair of mono price DJ headphones sitting in my drawer. Now, stay in the drawer. Forever. They're there
in the drawer.
In the drawer.
All right, guys. Well, we'll do this again for sure. I really liked it, and thank you for everybody that asked me questions. Definitely wish I could have answered them all, but we'll do this again.
All right, thanks, Rajiv.
Awesome.
All right, take care, guys. Bye.
See ya. All right, so let's see if we can't get this What is going on here? I hate you, Skype. I hate you. Let's see. There we go.
I heard a noise. Nice.
I don't know. Here,
hey, somebody was saying we need to go to CES or PAX together. Are you still thinking about going to PAX this year?
PAX Prime, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, hold on.
PAX Prime's up here, isn't it? Where is it at?
Something like that. Okay, guys, it's up in Seattle. All right, I'm gonna call you right back.
I'm here. Oh, hey, Ropreach.
I can see me and you.
Hold on. I see a little spinny.
Yeah, I don't know. I hate Skype so much. We're gonna get a better program for this shit.
Yeah, we need to.
Not to mention Skype, we already know is such a horrible. Okay, so we got some topics here, guys. People were like, "Hey, what's up with the topics?" It has nothing to do with what's in the title. We're gonna talk a little bit about cloud storage, some of the pros and the cons, free versus paid, and what kind of storage is best for you. And this was actually a topic that Jerry wanted to talk about, and I agree wholeheartedly. So,
yeah.
Jerry, kick it off. It was your topic.
All right, so just like everybody else, I went on the craze where everybody's throwing me all these little advertisements to say, hey, you should go sign up for like OneDrive, old used to be called SkyDrive. You've got Dropbox, you've got, and of course I'm drawing a blank, but there's several of them. There's like Dump
Carbonite.
Truck, just Carbonite. There's all these services. They're just huge. Everybody's got them, and they're giving you between 5 gigabytes to 20. Some of them are giving away just 20 gigabytes for free, like without even having to pay a dime. But the cool thing about all these services are I have a lot of hard drives, and they crash fairly frequently. My WD Greens, they don't survive usually more than a year and a half, if I'm lucky, because of all the I/O and stuff I do on my network. So the cloud storage is where I keep a lot of the stuff that's precious to me, like my multimedia and my pictures of my son and stuff like that, where it's like, even if my house just exploded tomorrow, I would still have the comfort of knowing that it's out there and it's redundant. But there's a lot of questions that come into play with the cloud storage, and that's one. The biggest one would probably be privacy and security. And that is things like Dropbox and stuff like that. I've been reading some of the laws lately. They've been coming across my thing talking about how the NSA and everything can actually subpoena companies to get access to your data. So if the government thinks for any reason they don't like something you're doing, or they even suspect that you're doing something bad, they can actually get a legal warrant to go take control of those accounts or tap those accounts and access all the data.
I don't believe.
What's that?
I don't believe they're secure. No matter what they tell you,
they're not.
I don't believe they're secure.
They're
never, ever. I'll put it this way. I don't even have cloud storage, okay? I don't even use the Google Docs thing, to be honest with you. And because I don't believe they're secure, I don't put pictures up there. I don't do nothing. I do entirely local backup on everything. And let me stress to you guys the importance of local backup, please. Because just today, you guys know I work in IT. Our national training coordinator happens to be in our Southern California office doing a training in LA. And she's from New York. All of her training materials, all of the company-wide training materials stored locally on her laptop. And guess what took a shit yesterday? Her laptop. So yesterday and today, we're playing data miner, trying to recover the data off of a corrupted hard drive because she had absolutely no backup anywhere. Not an external drive, not the cloud. And you know what's sad about that? All of our offices are interconnected on a VPN, and we have a massive SharePoint set up. There's no excuse for it.
Yeah, and the funny thing is there's no excuse for me either. I have a 14 terabyte array that's supposed to be backing up everything in the house, but the backups get out of date, or I create new folders and I forget to add them to the backup set. And then yeah, lo and behold, the hard drive dies on me, and next thing you know, I've got one of these, mono price hard drive dock things sitting on my desk, and 4 days of a program running trying to do a sector by sector recovery. It sucks.
Well, you mentioned, the whole government subpoena thing here in the United States, and it's funny. Some companies have really drawn the line in the sand. Like you've got, I think, Google, Apple, AOL, a lot of these companies like Time Warner, they've all drawn the line and told the government, hands off. This data is not yours to subpoena. We're not going to give it to you. Then there's those other companies, and there was actually somebody in the chat tell me, there was actually a whole like movement. It had a name. I can't remember what it was. But then there was those other companies that were more than willing to say, oh yeah, here, okay, U.S. government, here, you're the government, take whatever you want.
Comcast.
I don't remember what side Microsoft was on, but then again, Microsoft's not really a kind of a data host so much. I mean, they deal with email, Hotmail, and all that sort of stuff.
Well, we own Azure, which is like I think the second largest cloud storage and cloud computing thing in the world. I think we're the only one bigger than us, or maybe third. Was it Google and Amazon? I honestly can't remember, but it's one of the Azure is huge.
In a country like ours. Our country, when it comes to laws and stuff, and I'm not going to get political, I'm just going to talk about when we're dealing with modern things that we're dealing with now, like data storage, transferring of data across state lines, is that considered federally tappable?
Yep.
These are very new situations, which takes way too long for the United States Congress and Senate to make laws on. When we still have laws that you can't cross the Oklahoma border with a duck on your head, it's still a valid law.
I know too. There's some funny laws.
If you guys ever want to have some serious laughter, just go look up crazy laws that are still active.
I know. I was reading one where it's like there's one state where you're not allowed to have a shotgun in your truck unless it's loaded. It literally has to be loaded. It's against the law to have an unloaded shotgun in your truck. And I was just trying to think to myself, I'm like, why would that be a law?
I guarantee you it's not California.
No. California's like you have to put special stuff in your fuel, and your car has to be half batteries.
Yeah. Well, California too is an open carry state, but it's an unloaded open carry. You can have your gun, but you can't have any bullets in it.
What are you gonna do? Run around and pistol whip everybody?
No, you can have a loaded magazine. It has to be out of the weapon and separately holstered.
Oh, I see. So you just got to practice your speed loading technique. All right, that makes sense.
Yeah. So,
but
anyway.
As far as data in the cloud, it's like I put stuff in the cloud, but I'm very selective about what I put in the cloud, and it's things like multimedia stuff that I don't want to lose. Nothing like super sensitive, but just stuff that I don't want to lose. It's nothing that I wouldn't post on like Facebook. But it's stuff that I just want to make sure that I hang on to because I don't want to risk losing it. And even if you do have a local backup, like Jay was saying, if your house burns down, you could lose that. Mm-hmm. If a catastrophic act of God happens, you can lose that. So that's the nice thing about having data backed up. Most companies, what they'll do is they'll replicate their data warehouse across multiple countries and continents so that if in the event of like some catastrophic incident, let's say there was like a nuclear attack on the United States,
Size for Spill says it's illegal to sleep on a refrigerator in Pennsylvania.
I agree with that one because it'd make it really hard to get into it if somebody was sleeping on it, and that would piss me off. But yeah, as far as the data thing, it's like anything that you upload to SkyDrive or anything you upload to any of those file sharing sites or everything, doesn't matter if you have passwords on or anything, do not upload anything that you don't expect to completely get ripped off and thrown around the internet.
You guys also have to know anything you put online is forever going to be online.
Yeah, that's
true. Just because you delete it doesn't mean it's gone.
Yep, the internet is forever.
And the internet is kind of like the universe. It is constantly replicating and expanding, and the moment we upload a video, Jerry, it's amazing how many places it gets embedded. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, no, it's like, especially when it gets crawled, like Google and Bing both, constantly index all the media sites like Blip TV and YouTube and all that, and Vimeo. And you go out and you look for it, and it's like, I'll upload a video, and within 2 days, I'll do a search, and it'll be in the search results already. Like, they've already somehow linked it back to me and figured out it was relevant to me in some way and, like, showed it back to me. And I'm just like, there's a lot going on behind the scenes there, guys.
Well, this is the same company that sends me emails to my YouTube account recommending that I check out my newest video. So...
Yep. And that's the other thing. Like earlier, you were saying that some companies draw a line in the sand. The problem is that line in the sand can't really be drawn anymore because now the government can actually supersede any of their authority. So what companies used to try to do, and they still do largely, is they just don't keep logs of things.
Yeah.
Like VPNs. Like you won't find a VPN host in the United States that logs the VPN activity. They don't do that on purpose because if they logged it, the government would constantly be subpoenaing them for the logs. So they're just like, nah, we don't have enough hard drive space for that. That's why they tried to pass that SOPA shit where it was like, oh yeah, hey, every ISP, why don't you just keep around like 50 teraflops of storage or to store everything
and just
no.
give the U.S. government backdoor unmonitored access because that's what they wanted.
Exactly.
It's the same thing when they were attacking Verizon and T-Mobile and everybody wanting to be able to without supervision just go in and monitor all of our phone activity, which the NSA was clearly doing through its own data farm.
Yep.
Which surprisingly, I'll be honest, I'm surprisingly shocked that the government actually backed the people saying that it was unlawful. Doesn't mean they're not going to still do it. Just because they say it's unlawful doesn't mean they're not going to still do it.
Yeah, Google's actually fighting back now with disclosure of data. So now they have a web page that you can go to, and it actually shows you all the charts and graphs of. It doesn't tell you who the data was subpoenaed from, but it tells you how many people, what months, what years, and everything data was subpoenaed, wiretaps, all kinds of stuff. Like any government order, they keep track of the numbers and they make that public so that people can see the frequency that the government's actually interacting with them.
I think Ari Swift is missing the point, though, when they say, well, Google owns YouTube. If they're referring to my comment of YouTube recommending that I watch my own video, I just think it's funny that it doesn't know that it's recommending my own video to me.
I know. It's yeah. There's some pretty stupid logic going on there. Somebody else also mentioned something funny. They were like, so we're not worried about having our videos on the internet forever. And the honest answer is no, I'm not worried about having, because I've already made a million mistakes. It's going to happen. It's all part of the business. You just lick your wounds and move on, whatever. But the cool thing about it is in 50 years, provided I'm still alive, because everybody thinks I'm going to probably die, but I'm pretty sure I'll be alive. I can go on the internet and I can go and search for these things and find my old videos. And it's like, God, how many people have 300 home movies? I mean, it's like, and that's just what I have right now. I mean, in another year, I'll have probably another 200 and some.
But you said it earlier.
Yeah.
And it's what you and I kind of have to abide by in our own personal standards is don't put anything online you would be embarrassed anyone else to see.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Well, actually, I haven't followed that one entirely.
Okay,
but,
let me take back the word embarrassed. Don't put anything online that you don't want anyone else to see.
Yeah, guys, if you're going to do a YouTube channel, please do a couple cursory checks before you do your video. So make sure that all the lotion and Kleenex is hidden. Make sure your fly's zipped.
Yeah, you don't want to be like that girl in the bathroom that took a selfie with the dookie in the toilet.
Yeah. Or you remember back in, was it like I think it was the early 2000s where that lady on that tech TV show, was it G4 Tech TV or whatever, she did some nude photo of herself, but then she cropped it in Photoshop and uploaded the cropped image, but it turns out Photoshop just saves the entire image and then crops the viewable area, and somebody recovered it and started spreading it around the internet like wildfire. And she was like really, really embarrassed about the whole thing because honestly, you wouldn't believe that. You're like, well, I cut it out in Photoshop. It should only be taking and showing that cut out portion.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of stuff sometimes going on behind the scenes people don't know, and
guys,
you just got to be really careful.
And since we're talking about data, here's another really important thing you guys need to know when it comes to data recovery. And this is how we're able to recover data off of wiped hard drives. And Jerry can tell you this.
Yeah.
When you say to your hard drive, delete this, it does not actually delete it. All it does is reallocate available space equal to that amount back to the operating system that it believes is available. Until that sector of the hard drive is rewritten, it's always there.
Yep. All file systems have something. It's basically an index that sits at the first sectors of the hard drive that basically say this is where the file is, here's the offset, and this is where to get the data. Right. When you delete a file, all it's doing is taking that record out. The physical data stays on the drive because it would be far too slow for it to have to go out and overwrite the data on the disk. And another thing people don't realize is there's something called a low-level format. Yep. What low-level formats do is they do multiple zero sector writes, multiple being the key word here, because even if you physically delete a file from your hard drive, you go through and you actually say, I want to overwrite that file with other data, it's still actually recoverable. I mean, it's a lot harder. The odds go down, but it still technically is recoverable. So a lot of low-level format utilities will write zeroed sectors like 3 to 5 times. Some of them you can specify. You can say 30 times. Right. But you intentionally do low level, like in a corporation setting, when they dispose of hard drives, they low level format them, they send them out the door because that guarantees that the data can't be recovered. If you just do a format, /C enter, no, your data is still recoverable.
It does a high level format, and that's why it only takes a couple of seconds versus a low level, which takes time.
No, but even a complete format, even if you format a drive, like you do format C and you wait the 2, 3, 4 minutes or whatever, and it overwrites every sector on the drive, that data is still recoverable because it overwrote each one of those sectors using the same exact amount of magnetism. So there's still a residual magnetism underneath it. It doesn't completely zero it out. That's why you have to write it over multiple times.
If you guys want to guarantee that your data is gone, just do like I do at work. I have a 350-pound pull power Neo. I can't remember the type of magnet it is. It's a magnet.
Yep.
And we will wipe these hard drives, this stuff, because we have my company deals with very sensitive company data. And when we are getting ready to recycle or to decommission a system, we will take a 350-pound pull magnet. We will format the hard drives, and then we will put the magnet on the drive.
Yep. Nope. That's that. You can't go wrong there. I mean, it's all magnetism. If you can put a big enough magnet on that thing, it's zip. It's gone.
Oh, dude, we have two 350-pound Neo.
That'll do it. Neodymium.
Yes.
Yeah.
I put my hand in between them once just to see because I've always heard about it.
Yep. That was dumb.
Oh my! You should have seen us trying to get it off. Me and my coworker, I was like, I was like squeezing through my hand, and it's funny. The closer they get, the stronger they are, and they're dual 350-pound magnets.
No, they actually brought magnets to work one day. I can't remember what they were. They were natural magnets. They were naturally occurring magnets, but the draw force on them was so powerful that they actually had to be brought in by two separate people and put into place. And they were using them for creating a magnetic field for something. It was some RF test. But I remember they put one under a wooden table, and they took the other one like 2.5, 3 feet away and set it on top of the table, and it zipped right over, came to a complete stop, and then there was like no way to get it off that damn table.
Yeah. Well,
it was like, it's crazy.
The one that I have is only they're about this big around, maybe a little bit like a $half size. They're about half-inch thick, and I have two of them, and there's a hole in the middle because you can use it to magnetize tools also. Like you can.
Oh, that's awesome.
You can do that with it, right? That's what you do with it. But anyway, I put them on my desk, and they sit there, and like you said, they'll just kind of... It's crazy, and if I put something in the middle of it, usually there's so much force, it actually gets popped straight up. I'll play with it at work all the time. I play with it at work, guys.
You know what? That kind of raises a question. I wonder if like UPS ever has like two people ordering two very powerful magnets, and the boxes get a little too close together. That'd be awesome. You're driving down the street and you just hear clunk and two boxes just mash together and merge. That would be hilarious. All right, I'm doing it, guys. I'm going to buy some giant magnets from Amazon and see what happens.
Don't bring them in your man cave.
I know, dude. That would be a recipe for disaster.
Oh, my God. All right. So next topic I know I'm interested in, especially since you kind of been getting buddy-buddy with Chris Perillo and he wants to get more into 3D printing.
Yep.
There's some myths with 3D printing that you want to both confirm and debunk. So what are those?
So the myths of 3D printing. Well, first of all, everybody always asks, can you print metal? The short answer is no, not at home. The better answer is like, yeah, Boeing can do it. I mean, if you're a large corporation, you can fit the machine that does it. It exists, but it's not something that you can do in your own home. The other misconception is everybody always says that you can only print useless stuff. This is the number one comment I get on thing is it's like, all you can do is print trinkets with that. Like, like Legos, I printed those. Oh, a Pokeball. It's like, they're not worth the money because they're useless. Well, the truth is, it can actually print literally thousands and thousands of phone cases, brackets for fixing stuff, knobs for your stove in your kitchen, things for light fixtures. You can even print screws and nuts, like not really small, but medium-sized screws and nuts and bolts and stuff to fix toys.
Yeah.
Pretty much, it's whatever you can 3D model, you can print. And as long as it can withhold in plastic like ABS or PLA or even polycarbonate and nylon and those other exotic materials you can print in, you can absolutely.
Myth number 2, you can only print as big as your print table.
Yes, that is actually a complete and total myth. Everybody's like, well, it can only print that big. Well, it can only print that big in one segment. But you're printing plastic. Plastic can be bonded together. PLA can be glued or epoxied together. ABS can be melted together. So one of the big projects I have coming up here with the Ultimaker 2 is I'm going to print a full-size Master Chief Halo helmet, one that I can actually put on my head and wear. And I can't do that on an 8x8-inch build volume. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slice it up into pieces. There's programs called slicers, like I use NetFab. And you can go in there and take a large object and cut it into a bunch of little objects that you then piece back together after they print. And the precision is good enough that you can actually do that flawlessly. There's actually a big initiative going on the internet right now. God, I wish I could remember the name of it. It's not a Kickstarter thing, but it's this thing where you basically go download a chunk of this huge, like they're making a statue. You download a chunk, you print it out, you send them a picture of it, they verify the dimensions, then you put it in a box and mail it to them. And then once they have all the pieces,
it's like 3D printer folding.
Yes, it's exactly like that. So they're going to build an entire 3D printed statue, and they're crowdsourcing all of the 3D printed segments.
That kind of brings up I was getting ready to ask you a question I thought of looking at the printers behind you is when you have 3 different printers and they're different brands and different versions, can they all 3 print pieces of that and will they match together right?
The answer is yes, they will, because all the printers use the same type of stepper motor that moves in the same step increments, and the code that actually tells it to move and extrude the material all uses the same exact language. So everything's moving in proportion. Now, if you might have to calibrate them a little bit. So like what you usually do is print a cube, but as long as they're printing flawlessly and you don't see any kind of deviation or warping and you get the thing calibrated properly, yes, they should all be able to print the exact same things and they should look exactly identical.
Now, okay, so talk about the resolutions.
So the resolution on 3D printing, in the type I use, filament extrusion 3D printing, which is what all 3 of my printers do, can print down to 20 microns, which is actually really, really fine. But the thing that people don't realize is it's not 20 microns everywhere. It's 20 microns on the z-axis, like moving up and down. Or actually, in this case, it'd be the y-axis. Sorry. So moving up and down on the y-axis, you have that. Everything else is going to be, I think it's 400 microns or 0.04 millimeters, which is still fine resolution. But the thing is the way a 3D printer works is it builds a layer and then it builds a layer on top of it and another layer on top of it. So realistically, the 20 micron resolution is what you care about because that's going to be the outer edge of the model. Everything else is going to be on the interior of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. You know, it's funny. Like Miss J and I, 2 CSs ago now, when we first started seeing 3D printers come up, all they were printing on their displays was like little statues. Nothing moved, nothing interacted. There were no pieces. And now, like, here we are, only a year and 2 months later, seeing like your planetary gearbox video.
Yeah.
I had seen that before I knew you. And I mean, that's really cool that you can actually print working parts.
Yeah, it's my most popular 3D printing video to date. And that is literally I printed each one of these cogs out, each one of these little pieces, everything, even the screws and bolts that hold the whole gearbox together. All
so
3D
could you
printed.
just keep adding planetary gears into that to eventually it's like 100 rotations to 1?
Yep, there's actually a guy already on Thingiverse that I think he printed it. It was like 12 or 16 of them together, and he has to rotate the crank on this side several hundred times to get one rotation on that.
Imagine the torque, though.
Oh yeah, the torque even on 3 is crazy. I mean, look, I'm spinning that as fast as I can, and you can barely see the cog turning. I mean, I used a drill on it. I printed a piece so you could put a drill in there and turn it. But a lot of people are like, yeah, no, you can only print like solid trinkets and stuff. And it's just, it's not true. There's a guy who 3D printed an entire tank. You can even get something called flexible PLA that's like rubber. So you can even print like tires and tank tracks and all that stuff. So it's all stuff I plan to do on my channel over time. But it's just like anything else. You know, I'm learning every day and I'm learning new stuff I can do to it. But realistically, I mean, your limiting factor is your imagination.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else you want to say about 3D printing? I'd like to ask you more questions, but honestly, I'm such a noob at 3D printing. It's like, see, my problem is I would probably lack the creativity to go and find this stuff. Seriously.
A couple other things with 3D printing is a lot of people say that you shouldn't print, like, you know, do you have to be in a well-ventilated area and stuff like that. And the truth is, if you're using materials like ABS, you probably should because it's a petroleum-based product. Yeah. But the PLA that you're printing in is actually, I mean, it's made from corn, basically. It's like, it's biodegradable, for crying out loud. So it's the same stuff they make, like, you know, bio silverware out of that you use, like, at your picnic. So a lot of people really gave me a lot of grief on my video saying, oh, wow, just another way to put more plastic in the landfill. But truth be told, this stuff's highly recyclable. Yeah, I can actually buy something called a fill extruder. I don't have one yet. I'm hoping to get one eventually.
You can melt it?
I can literally crush it up into little bits, put it in a hopper, and it'll melt it and re-extrude it as filament. I can print all over again. It's completely recyclable.
How long till we see you buying that?
Probably a couple of months. I've been talking to Fill Extruder to see if they'd be willing to give me one, but I haven't heard anything back from them because they've been so busy after CES and all of that.
Well, not to mention, you at least do have your filament fairly sponsored, so it's easy to keep printing.
Yeah, I do have I have so much filament behind me. I think I have like 20 rolls. I'm actually, one of the things I do is if I can successfully print out the Master Chief helmet and everything lines up good and I get it calibrated and everything and I've got them spot on, I'm half tempted to just say screw it and use like 10 or 15 rolls and print like a full-size stormtrooper or something, like an entire stormtrooper, piece them together and then give it to my friend who's in the 501, what is the 501st Legion to basically paint movie accurate. And I was like, that would be cool, you know? And maybe, I don't know, you have it in the man cave. If I don't have room in here, take it to work. I mean, that's a really nerdy thing to put in your office. Get you some nerd points. But as far as anything else, let me think here. So the 3D printing stuff. Oh, the other thing is 3D printing technology is like, oh my God, it's like seriously beating out Moore's Law. I mean, it's growing at a super fast pace. Like right now, they already have new printing technology called stereolithography, where it's basically a laser that etches. It basically cures a polymer, a liquid polymer, and that can get down to God. What is it like? The resolution's insane. It's like 1,000 microns or something like that. It's a human hair basically. So you can print like a chess piece that was in flawless detail with like a staircase inside of it. I mean, that's what they did as part of their demo. So I'm trying to get a hold of one of those 3D printers, but it might be a few months because it's like the technology is still pretty new to the consumer market. It's been in the industrial market for a while, but it's just now kind of coming to the consumer.
All right. So we started something last week. Regarding GPUs, and you and I both had 680s. You had two 680s, I had one.
Yep.
And for me to go to the 780, if it hadn't been for free by making that trade with my cameraman, I'd still be sitting on my 680 because for single 1080p gaming, it didn't feel dated yet. I mean, the 680 would probably still last me another 2 years easily.
Yeah.
But for you, on the other hand, with three monitors that you do your simulations and your other games that you play with all three monitors, your 680s are starting to feel a little dated.
They are. The three monitors definitely reduces that performance a great deal.
So last week I said, hey guys, my 780's coming in, and then I was like, hey, I got a 290 on the way. I've now got both of them. Over here is the 780, over here is the 290. And I kind of wanted to just have a discussion with you and the people out there that are shopping for graphics cards, because I have to put out a little disclaimer. Guys, if you're not in the United States, what I'm going to say price-wise isn't going to make any sense to you. But here in the United States right now, AMD is what NVIDIA was a year ago. It's like 10% more expensive than NVIDIA. And Jerry, you found yourself in a situation where you didn't know what the hell to buy because you knew that AMD was a huge player in the GPU market. It was finally powerful.
Yeah.
And then before you could pull the trigger on buying anything, cryptocurrency mining took off, and then all of a sudden really fucked up the prices of AMD.
Yep, and then you got Mantle involved, and you're trying to figure out where the hell that's going and everything. It just this is the hardest decision I've ever had to make. It's always been before that it was clear to either go ATI or it's clear to go NVIDIA. And for first time ever, there's too many things on both sides.
And you and I had a typed conversation back and forth where I was kind of giving you this information. We decided it would be a good idea for me to you and I to have this conversation through voice where people can listen in and kind of help people decide what to buy and why. Yeah. Because you have to ask yourself the question, what are you going to do with your graphics cards, and what do you want out of them? Now, you mentioned Mantle. I don't believe Mantle should be any buying deterrent whatsoever. I don't think it should have any influence in what you buy, and here's why. Mantle is open source. NVIDIA would be an absolute fool not to implement the API because they would be limiting their market alone just in that aspect. They will eat their ego a little bit, even though it's an AMD developed product. But AMD wasn't like NVIDIA where they said, oh, well, physics is our thing. So they opened it up to the world. I firmly believe NVIDIA will incorporate it.
No, I believe they will. I absolutely believe they will. But here's the two fears that I have is, are they going to just release it with the 8 series cards and then not retroactively apply it to all the other cards? Which, would completely screw a lot of people. What was my other concern?
God, well, let me answer that one real quick. I don't think that'll be the case because they introduced Shadowplay to the old series, 600 series.
That's true. They have been pretty true to keeping everything. And plus, it's unified driver architecture. So unless there's like a real reason for not to use it, they should apply it.
Right. But I didn't actually know my 680 had Shadowplay until somebody told me. I went and looked it up. I was like, oh, hey, sure as hell, there it is. So, and I tried it out, and it's all right. I still prefer DX Tory over Shadowplay. Shadowplay still was slightly laggy. But for you, and the fact that you use 3 monitors, high GDDR amounts is going to be important to you. Yeah. 3 gigabytes, which is the base model on a 780, might be a little bit pushing it for you on 3 1080p's plus a 1440 sitting up above your head.
Agreed.
And since AMD has 4 gigabyte baseline on their 290 series, and guys, we're kind of discussing 290 versus 780 Ti here because, let's face it, this is Jerry, and anything less is for poor people. So it's 290X. 290X versus Ti.
Yep.
The Ti is beating the 290X in every category in gaming. Benchmarks, all games, AMD and NVIDIA-based games, by about 10% on the frames.
Yep.
And in the past, I would have said, Jerry, it makes more sense to go with the 290X because the 290X is cheaper. But that's not the case now. The 290X is the same exact price as the Ti here in the United States, depending on which model you go with. So my advice to you, quite honestly, at the risk of being called an NVIDIA fanboy, is to go with the Ti because of what you're using it for. But you're probably I would be a little bit concerned with the 3 GB limitation because, let's face it, a Ti with 6 GB is going to be the Titan Black Edition at 1,000 a pop. I don't know if you guys know that or not. There's the Titan Black Edition is they finally unlocked all of the CUDA cores on it, so it matches the Ti. It's just double the VRAM.
And that's just it. Is I'm not really sure that the extra VRAM is really that necessary because I think 3 GB is more than enough to basically cover a 5760 by 1080 display. If it was 4K, then I think you'd start getting a little bit of trouble. But honestly, I don't think I've seen a game yet that even maxes out even the 2 GB arena. Maybe Battlefield cranked.
No, even when I do it right now on my 3 GB card here, I'm only using about 1,800 megabytes of RAM.
Yeah, so I think it's just everybody's a little ahead of their time because I mean, gosh, even if you had 6 GB of memory on there, you're basically having to deal. I mean, the GPU on there is now having to deal with accessing that. So if they put massive amounts of textures and stuff in memory, I mean, it's going to slow things down. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it might be capable of doing it versus the other card. You'd have to drop the graphic settings and drop the textures down. But honestly, I can't imagine that it would do it well. I don't think the card's fast enough to really even max out what would be capable with all that VRAM.
See, Joshua Northern saying if you're limited budget, get the R9 290X. That doesn't, I don't know, I'm going to assume he's in the United States, but still that statement doesn't hold water because you can get the 770 for cheaper still, which clock for clock, benchmark for benchmark, matches the 280X. The 280X is just a rebranded 7970 gigahertz edition.
Well, you were actually able to get your what was it? Your 780. You actually got it to beat my SLI score like significantly.
My 780 is scoring 400 points higher on Valley Benchmark than overclocked TIs right now. I almost feel like I got a misbranded TI. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Everything's better on liquid, Jay.
Look, when Jacob himself from EVGA told me, "Wow, I've never seen our reference card clock that high," there's something going on there.
You got the magic sauce. Now watch, I'll go buy 2 and they'll like barely be able to hold their stock clocks with like water blocks on them.
No, you would with 2 of those, you should be sitting right around the 5,500 to 6,000 range on Valley Benchmark if you're going for the benchmark numbers.
The other consideration though was I wanted to get away from NVIDIA's drivers. NVIDIA's drivers have been driving me nuts. It doesn't seem like they really pay attention to the multi-mon scenario anymore. It seems like everything's completely broken in the multi-mon scenario, flipping between having 3 independent displays and flipping between Eyefinity. The order of the monitors is never preserved and always gets screwed up and never remembers the bezel correction factor. It's almost like it's been beta for like 2 years. And I hear that the AMD experience and the drivers like way better and their multi-mon experience is just all around better.
I can't speak to multi-monitor gaming. I mean, I have 2 monitors hooked up on both these systems.
Yeah.
But I only game on one. So I can't speak to the multi-monitor, but would you like to hear my driver experience between these 2 cards?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. So I'm running the latest drivers for NVIDIA. I'm not even running beta drivers. And everything was flawless. All through my benchmarking, through the gaming experience, all the way up through hacking the BIOS, putting on a custom BIOS, overvolting it, overclocking it through the roof. No problems whatsoever. My 290 on the stock BIOS and the stock drivers, I've had to reinstall it 4 times just to get through my benchmarks because I kept getting black screens. Don't know why. It's the 14.1. It's the beta driver because it's Mantle. Yep. But I kept getting black screen. Picture would go away because you guys, you know, when you switch between 2D mode and 3D mode, when you go from looking at a flat, desktop like this to a game, the driver activates. It switches the signal coming out. It literally turns off the signal and back on momentarily. That's why your screen.
Just to qualify that though, that's in Windows 7. In Windows 8, the desktop is composed in Direct 3D, so you don't have that problem.
Okay, in Windows 7, this is my experience. Now, AMD, it would go black and not come out. I'd have sound. I'd get no input received, and kept doing it over and over until I would completely delete the ATI Catalyst or the AMD Catalyst. Control center, reinstall it, it would work. It kept happening to me. So finally, I just wiped everything. I took driver sweeper, I wiped everything off the system entirely, got a fresh install going, and then started playing with the overclocks. My 290 does not overclock very well at all. I mean, guys, I've
heard a lot of people saying that, though, that the card's running really hot out of the box.
Well, I'm not even talking about hot. I'm just talking about overclock. Period. It was artifacting. With
Oh, really?
Overclocking at 7.5% caused artifacting. And by artifacting, I started getting blue specks all over the screen. So there's a lot of things that could cause that. It wasn't temperature related because this was before I even started overvolting it. So you guys know the frequency doesn't affect temperatures, voltage does. So I don't know what was causing that. My 780, on the other hand, overclocked even on air much farther percentage-wise than the 290 did. Now, the 290 and the 780 in my benchmarks, if you look at my frames per second video, or my review video of the 290, the frames per second were within 1 of the average. And the way I get my frames per second, if you guys are wondering, I load up Fraps. Fraps has a benchmark utility in it where it will run for 1 minute, and it will just record every frame. It records every frame, and then it lists them all out in a spreadsheet, and then it gives you the min, max, and average. I do that for about 5 minutes. I'll do it 5 times, back to back to back to back, in the same map with the same amount of players, 64 players, Parcel Storm. And then I take the lowest frames per second average. So there's times I had frames per second average up in the 120 range. But whatever the absolute lowest frames per second achieved average was is what I put in my benchmark. Now the 780 and the 290 were within 1 frame. 92 on the 780, 93 on the 290. Once I started overclocking them, the 780 just jumped so far out in front of the 290, it wasn't even funny. Even on the scores were within 100 points of each other on Valley Benchmark, but the Valley Benchmark max score I could get overclocked on the 290 was about 2,700. And you guys have seen on Twitter that picture, 3,300, over 3,300 on the 780 with the hacked BIOS. And obviously it's on water, but even on air cooling, I still managed to reach 3,000. 300 points higher than the 290. So the scaling of overclocking on NVIDIA was so much farther than AMD.
Plus, I've heard that NVIDIA scales better on SLI scenarios, too. I heard that Eyefinity, you lose more for every additional card. Do you know if there's any truth to that?
I watched and read a couple of reviews of people saying that Mantle nearly scaled, like, it practically did not scale at Crossfire. Now, I can't, that's just hearsay because I've not experienced it, and I don't really like to give an opinion on something I haven't experienced. But it's looking early like these beta drivers for Mantle are not scaling entirely well on Crossfire. Now, what's funny is, during my 290 review, somebody accused me of being an NVIDIA fanboy because I didn't throw out Mantle numbers. But what they fail to realize is that any Battlefield 4 numbers I put out are Mantle by default. Because the Mantle API defaults on the beta driver with AMD.
Oh, okay.
So when I said I got 93 frames per second, which beat the NVIDIA card, by the way, I got called a fanboy because I didn't say this was Mantle turned on.
How significant was the increase with Mantle on Battlefield?
On the 290?
Yeah.
Like 1 frame per second. On the
really?
On the 270, it was like 10 frames per second. Remember, Mantle is more beneficial for the lower end cards and lower end CPUs.
Yeah, I've heard that the whole idea behind Mantle is to reduce the number of setup calls that go to the card and the CPU runs the setup calls. So it's all about having the CPU work less to send the work to the card.
Right.
The card's still doing the work the same way on board the card. It's just a matter of, instead of sending 100,000 direct 3D calls a second, it might only have to send 25,000 Mantle calls. So it just doesn't beat the hell out of your CPU.
And I keep getting messages from people asking, "Where's my Mantle video? Where's my Mantle video?" See, what everyone has done. What everyone's done so far is like they'll say, "Oh, here's the 290. Oh, here's what it was with the 13.1 drivers. Oh, here it is with the 13.2 drivers. Here it is with the 14.1. Here's the differences." I'm going to be doing that with the 290 as well as the 270 and measuring performance gains between the two. Because Mantle, honestly, guys, if you have a super powerful card that's already overkill, it's not noticeable whatsoever. It's really not. But that's why I'm happy that I at least have a 270 sitting over here so I can take a $179 card and see, did we gain performance?
Well, I think more to the point, though, like if they had a really slow CPU, I think Mantle would show a dramatic impact. I think it bridges that gap to where now you could have like a really shitty 2.4 gigahertz CPU, and it would be able to max out the graphics card, whereas that's not true today. But everybody's running like us that are overclocking their CPUs up in the 3-4 gigahertz range. I mean, you're not going to max the CPU out feeding the graphics card. You're just not.
Right now, they're saying Mantle's only optimized for the 290 and 290X so far that they're aware of. That's what Toshi Crowley says. Yes, that's true, but they are still going to be optimizing it for our 7900 and 7800 series cards, which by default will include the 270. This is one reason why you haven't seen my Mantle video yet. One of the other things I'm going to do too, because I do have a 4670K, non-hyper-threading CPU in the test bench, is I'm also going to start dialing back the speed of the CPU to where we start to see that bottlenecking again, and we're going to see if I'll put the old beta 13 drivers back on and see if that number is different where we start to get bottlenecking.
That'll actually be a really cool test, because the one thing that this is the scenario that I'd like, is I do a lot of like media and coding and stuff like that, just like you do, right? And if Mantle enables the game to use less CPU to set itself up and keep its graphics performance, that's all that extra CPU now is freed up for you to go in the background and render and set your thread priorities and everything like that. You can do a lot more without it upsetting the game. You don't have to basically say, well, I'm playing a game, I'm going to do nothing.
Right.
I think that would be pretty cool. I mean, because right now, like when I'm encoding a video, I tried to go and play a game while I was encoding a video, and it did all right. Like I almost didn't even notice that anything was different. But then I actually went out and I opened up, what was that? What did I open up?
Let's be fair, though. You have 12 threads.
No, that's true. I have 12 threads, but only 6 of them are physical. The other 6 are only utilized when there's repetitive operations going on. Which in rendering you do get a fair amount of repetitive operations. So I'd say that it's really good for rendering. But there's a lot of stuff that those hyper threads are worthless for.
Murder Horn says Mantle's nothing right now. It's a broken game with broken drivers, a couple weak ass video cards, kind of a joke. Guys, it's brand new. Okay.
Yeah.
It's gonna take time for it to mature, and at the very end of the day, and I hate how that statement gets used so much, but seriously, at the end of the day, if downloading a driver boosts your performance, who the fuck cares, right?
Well, God, speaking of that, look what NVIDIA does. I downloaded an NVIDIA driver where they listed a 40% increase in Sly performance when playing Batman Arkham Asylum in Infinity. I was like, 40%!
Which is kind of sad when they used that game to demonstrate the TI at launch.
Yeah.
Right?
But I just thought that was funny, because it's like, how do you sit down and find that much performance? I mean, I just picture like the developer, because I'm a developer myself, right? So I picture the driver developer sitting down and he's like, oh man, Sam down the hallway put an infinite loop in this function. What the fuck? It's like, how do you lose 40%? And the funny thing is, it's just over time, they learn new things, they learn tweaks, and every game utilizes the graphics card differently. So Arkham Asylum probably was like heavily doing something in Direct 3D that was inherently a slow operation or something, and NVIDIA was like, well, let's focus some effort there and see if we can clean it up and make it a little quicker. And it's funny because they list the performance. It's not like your card, it's not like with these drivers you get a 40% improvement. It's with these drivers you get exactly up to this improvement in each one of these games.
Right.
And actually, I have to kind of give them credit for having the diligence to go and look at each one of those games and what the improvements are in each one of them. I mean, it means they're actually legitimately doing testing. They're not just like throwing this shit at us completely untested, even though it seems like it most of the time.
Yeah, it kind of sucks that they're working from the top down. But once they get the top figured out, I mean, it'll take them less time to work their way down the list. But I mean, guys, for my Mantle video, it's what I plan on doing. I plan on just doing, balls out overclocking on the CPU on the 270 and running old drivers and beta drivers to see if Mantle improved, and then slowing down my CPU on old drivers and then slowing it down on new drivers. And if we have a difference there, if I was able to get the CPU at a slower speed before we started to see bottlenecking and slow down and frames, then there you go. See, that's why it takes me longer to do these videos, because people are like, oh, Linus already has his up, or Tech of Tomorrow already has his up, blah, blah, blah. Guys, that's their job. And I like to spend time really experimenting with this stuff. I don't just put a video up for the sake of
no,
a video.
it takes a lot of time. A lot of people don't realize, like, even just my latest iRacing video, if any of you guys went and watched that video took me nearly 7 hours, and it was because I had to pull out the sim, I had to work out a bunch of driver issues, I had to download the drivers for everything, I had to get everything connected, I had to get the brightness set up, I had to get the camera all set up, I had to get the audio equipment all set up. It was a new scenario, right? It wasn't something that I've been filming for a long time. So I had to pull all that together, and it's like Jay's having to sit down and hook these things up, reboot the computer 15 million times, changing out firmwares on the card, tweaking numbers, getting it stable, running a benchmark, recording that the 15 seconds you see in the video took him an hour, 2 hours, and then he moves on the next one. So it's like a lot of effort goes into making the detailed videos that Jay does.
And I'll be honest,
I don't have the patience. I'll be honest, I don't have the patience.
I love it, but I'm usually a nervous wreck by the end of the night, and I never edit those videos the same night I do the work. I do the testing.
That's smart because they'd be horrible, man. Like I'd imagine you're just frazzled after all that. I'd go nuts.
Yeah, like I'm gonna be doing my next video that I want to do. I'm gonna be doing the ITX build out in this 130 probably this weekend. But people really want to know about how cool my 780 is running at these massive high volts when I do push for max overclocks. Yeah, I just kind of want to do a video showing all of the unlocked potential that this 780 had. I kind of feel bad doing this video though because it's going to be like your mileage may vary to the extreme.
Yeah,
because I don't know. I have no idea why this card is performing so well. This is the best overclocking card I've ever had. 67.4% overclock.
That's insane. Like I said, you were beating two SLI 680, and they were for the win plus editions, so they were already overclocked out of the box, and you were still stomping them. So that was.
Well, I know you told the world on Twitter that you're looking at ordering two 780 Ti's.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming that when you do and you get them installed and comfortable, you're going to have me help you hack those.
Absolutely. No, the only reason I'd get them is to hack the hell out of them. I want to put them on liquid and run them as hard as I can.
Yeah, they have to be on water, that's for sure.
No, my audience would shoot me if I put another round of air-cooled cars in that. I mean, dude, I got 2 radiators, 24 fans, a liter of fluid, and the only thing I'm using that on is
liter of cola. I don't want a goddamn liter of cola. I want a goddamn liter of cola. I'm gonna start calling you a large Farva. You do kind of look like Farva.
I do a little bit.
Yeah, I'm sure you've gotten that before.
Hey, what's the name of that place down there? Shenanigans?
Oh,
I love that.
All right, so I say since we got started since I haven't been drinking, I promise, much. So I say for the next 10 or 15 minutes, we just kind of do a lightning round where we do nothing but answer questions.
Let's do it.
Sorry about the technical difficulties earlier, guys. It's Jerry and his goddamn connection over there. All right, guys. Type your questions and we'll do the best we can to answer them.
All
Linus
right.
is one skilly. Linus is a little bit bigger in person than I thought he was going to be. I'll be honest.
Is he really?
He's not as small in person as you would think he is. He's
like a ninja too, isn't he?
If the rumors say he's a black belt, so
yeah, so yeah, he's a bona fide ninja, that guy.
Yeah, he's not as small and scrawny as you would think. He's really not.
I don't know if I'm getting that. My chat's like blowing up right now. I'm trying to figure out if it's backlogged or if I'm actually getting current questions.
I'm watching it in real time. Someone wants to know if you're going to be getting the EVGA 780 Ti Classified Kingpin Edition. I would honestly say that's unnecessary.
No, I'm actually probably not going to buy an EVGA card this round. I'm probably going to go with like a Gigabyte or one of the cheaper reference cards.
Yeah, 780 Ti reference on water, and I have, like I said, I have the Ti BIOS sitting right here on my desktop. Right.
Yeah, I'm putting it on liquid, so there's no reason why I should pay a big premium for like additional air cooling and stuff, and I'm just going to rip it off and throw it in the garbage.
Someone asked, how much of an improvement will another EVGA Superclock 660 be? Not a lot, guys. Low-end cards like that they don't scale fantastically at SLI. Jay, what would be one of the best custom? God, it's going fast now. Liquid cooling cases for around $120. NZXT has some really good stuff. Fractal Arc XL is in that price range, and you could fit a fat 240 and a 360 in there.
Adam Nussbaum says, "What's your favorite flavor of pies?" And the answer to that question is all of them.
Yes.
Unfortunately,
whatever flavor's in my mouth.
Yeah, I'm on a diet now, guys. In case you didn't know, I've already lost 15 pounds, so I gotta stay away from the pies.
And that was in his bra.
Yeah, that was all just man boob.
Best $200 or less GPU. God, before I would have said the R9 270, but that's all changed.
Yeah. Let's see. Somebody asked, what do you think of the AMD Kavari? Have you had any experience with it? Still no experience?
No, just what I saw on demo at CES, but I kind of take the demos with a grain of salt.
Oh! Somebody's asking me where my January build went. I still can't make up my mind, guys. I haven't decided if I'm going to build. I haven't decided if I'm going to tear down my machine and just build a whole new gaming machine from the ground up. But I'm kind of thinking that money would be better spent building out a gaming rig for my man cave bedroom, and then spending the extra money on building a beefier virtual server to host.
Can I give you my 2 cents?
Absolutely.
You've got X79. How much RAM? 32 gigs?
Yep.
32 gigs of RAM. How fast?
4.6 gigahertz per core.
No, on the RAM.
On the RAM?
Yeah.
DDR3 2300.
Okay.
2366.
2306. 2333 is, I'm pretty sure.
2333. Yeah, 2333.
2333 RAM, 32 gigs of that, and you have a 3930K. There is no reason to overclock or no reason to upgrade it. Once you do your graphics card, you're set.
I know, that's what I was thinking too. I'm like, there's just nothing out there really that I would put together that it would be any better. And honestly, it could be worse because with overclocking, you never know. You get that CPU that just doesn't want to do it at all.
Yeah, and I mean, look at me. I'm talking about bumping up to an X79 potentially. So that's bumping up to where you are now. There's no reason to do that.
Yeah. So the answer is I'm going to spend the money in the Nerd Cave bedroom. Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing I helped a friend in person with. He asked me if I should build him a brand new gaming computer, and honestly, what we decided to do, because he's on Z77, but he has a 2700K in there.
Yep.
I said, why don't we bump up the CPU to like an overclock 3770? Even then, that's a little bit overkill. But the idea is that we take the 2700, get another like Extreme 4 motherboard or something, take the two 580s he has in there, put those in the second computer, get two new 780s in there. And for a lot less than building one computer, he'll have two.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. It makes sense. So no, I'm definitely not gonna upgrade the internals other than the GPUs. Absolutely love my sound card. I'm gonna keep that. I'm already on a 1 terabyte SSD, so that performance is fantastic. So yeah, I guess really it's just I'm gonna just put it all into GPUs and upgrade in the bedroom computer.
Is a 3570K going to bottleneck a 770 because the i5 2500K is bottlenecking myself? I actually call shenanigans that a 2500K is bottlenecking a 770. A 770 still is just a 680. And if you're bottlenecking, there's something else going on there. I mean, I took my 680, did my bottlenecking video all the way down to low-end i3 specs before I started seeing massive frame drops. So 2500K is not a slouch CPU.
Yeah, maybe something else was a factor there, driver configuration, all that.
If I use an H105 on the Athlon 760K, how far could I clock the CEDIS spot? I kind of feel like putting an H105 on an Athlon 760 is already the wrong move, to be honest.
Oh, somebody's asking about radiator width. So that's two thick 240 millimeter rads beat a slim 360 and a 240.
I run a 480 and a 360. Both rads are 45 mil thick. And I would be honest in saying that I also have a 480 and a 360 30 mil rad sitting in the closet.
Mm-hmm.
That I believe if I swapped them out, I wouldn't see any temp differences. So I'm going to say no.
Oh, Kicks 007 asks where we order all of our build supplies from, and it's for me. It's mainly Newegg. I would say Newegg's probably where I do most of my expenditure. And after that, sometimes I have to venture over to Tiger Direct. I know I feel dirty doing that. No, I'm just kidding. Tiger Direct's got some good deals over there. And Amazon, of course. But I try not to buy on Amazon too much because I live in Washington, which means I have to pay sales tax. So I only buy small items.
Well, I live in California. 10 miles from a warehouse, I pay tax on it.
That sucks.
So where do I buy my stuff from? When it comes to like liquid cooling and modding parts, for years I bought from Frozen CPU.
That's where I got all mine too. Yep.
And Performance PCs out of Florida. Usually has better prices than Frozen CPU as well.
Yeah, isn't that pretty sad that we have these laws where it's like it's cheaper for us to order stuff out of our own local economy?
Yeah.
That's stupid. It's like, no, make us pay sales tax to order it out of the state, but we don't have to pay it if we buy it here. That's how they should do it.
No offense to my good friends over at Newegg TV. You guys know I love them to death. I hang out with them. I do not shop from Newegg unless I absolutely have to because I live local to a Fry's and a Micro Center, which generally is much better pricing than Newegg. Especially Micro Center's CPU and motherboard deals cannot beat them.
Well, you can't beat Fry's because Fry's literally will match any advertised price online.
You know why I don't go to Fry's anymore to buy CPUs and motherboards? They implemented a new policy where they have to call Micro Center and get confirmation on the phone that it's in stock and what the price is.
Oh, whatever. That's stupid.
Micro Center has gotten smart to that, and they don't answer the phone anymore.
Oh, because they don't even want to empower them to get
because
yeah.
Fry's and Micro Center where I live are only a 15-minute drive apart.
I would just lie about everything. I'd be like, they'd call me and be like, oh, hello, Micro Center. And I'd be like, do you have that in stock? And I'd look over at the pile, like 300 boxes. And I'd be like, nope, just sold the last one and click. That's what I would do.
I will drive the hour each way to go to Micro Center because I've saved hundreds and hundreds of dollars. I've priced out a build on Newegg that was going to be about $2,800, drove to Micro Center, and it was $22. That's $600 savings, man. Because you'll get there and they're like, oh, hey, here's $50 off the motherboard because you bought our CPU. Our CPU's already 20% under MSRP. Oh, hey, look, here's a rebate for the SSD. Oh, here's a memory rebate. Oh, you bought those two together. Here's another rebate. Yep. They just keep throwing them at you and they're all instant.
Man, everybody keeps saying that Newegg's overpriced, but compared to my prices that I get around here, I mean, they're pretty good.
Newegg's overpriced on their CPUs.
Okay, I haven't bought it. Well, I haven't bought any CPUs from them in 2 years, so.
Yeah, like right now, if I wanted to buy a 3770K from Newegg, it's like $339. Micro Center has it for $249.
Somebody was asking what CPU would they recommend for budget and recording. For like game recording, if you're just putting a capture card in it, you really don't need that much.
The capture card does all the work.
Yeah, it's like you could probably just run a low-end i3 or i5 processor.
If they want to record off like DxTory or something.
Yeah, it depends on what you guys are doing for sure. But if you're using a hardware encoder card like AverMedia Game Capture HD or even an Elgato through USB, yeah, you're not gonna max out anything on that.
It's extremely hard, guys, to beat the bang for buck 8320 from AMD. I'll be honest. I didn't even say 8350. I said 8320 because if you live near a Micro Center, you can get it for like $120, and there is nothing that can touch it in that price range.
Well, I just had a friend he just ordered up a new upgrade for his computer at home. He was an Intel guy, and he ordered an AMD motherboard, CPU, RAM, and everything, and his entire build came in it was literally like $600 cheaper than the Intel alternative.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow. I was like, so I'm going to go check out his stuff when he gets it together and see how well it runs.
Yeah, see what Andrew says? 4670K on sale at Micro Center for $180.
Jesus, they're just giving them away.
Well, that's the thing. It's one per household, and you can't order it. You have to be in person. And here's the thing. Don't walk in with a friend if you guys each want to buy one. If you walk in together, they will not sell both of you a CPU.
Are they really that crafty?
Dude, listen. I was there, and I was buying parts for a customer build, and a guy walked in with his two sons, and he wanted to build all three of his kids a CPU. Or a computer. They would only sell them one CPU.
Yep.
And he was like, I'm going to build 3 computers. They're like, sorry, you'd have to come back tomorrow or blah, blah, blah.
Dude, you should just go there and troll people, like just listen at the door and it's like, oh man, I'm going to go get that CPU now. And then just like follow them in and walk up to the register with them and be like, hey,
no,
did you get it yet?
I've literally brought Miss J with me to Micro Center, got in, bought something, went to the car, gave her the card. She went in, bought the same thing, came back out. Because that's the way you have to do it.
Yeah, that's insane. So they must be making like zero profit on that then.
They lose money on the CPUs, but they do it because they know people while they're there will buy the other parts, just like I did. I mean, you know how much money I spent at Micro Center last year because of customer builds?
How much?
$26,000.
You know how much I spent at Newegg last year?
I don't want to know because that's all just for you. I spent I spent 26 grand at Micro Center last year. And what's sad is I had a random a random text message from a friend who says, hey, Joe from Micro Center says hi. And I'm like, okay, how do you know Joe? He's like, well, he started to shop for stuff, and Joe was like, oh yeah, well there's this guy on YouTube that you should check out. His name's JayzTwoCents and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh yeah, that's my friend. And he's like, really? He's like, oh yeah, tell him I said hi. So it was kind of weird that the Micro Center sales guy was referencing my video to a customer, which turned out to be my friend.
Wow, Newegg is selling the 8320 for $30 more than Micro Center.
Yeah,
that's insane. Like
Micro
because
Center,
it's only $100. Yeah, that's nuts. That's like
there is nothing, absolutely nothing in that price range that can beat the 8320. Are there
any Micro Centers in Washington?
I don't think so.
Oh man,
I'm telling you right now, the 8320. I pushed my brother-in-law's when he upgraded his on Black Friday to 4.7 gigahertz.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, completely unnoticeable from my 8350, which was clocked at the same speed. Because they're the same chip. They're just binned. That's all it is. So, yeah, I recommend anyone on a super budget, go AMD with an 8320 and get yourself a decent motherboard for it. I mean, people were like, oh, but it doesn't have PCI 2.0 or 3.0. Guys, there's also no performance difference between 2.0 and 3.0 right now. We're not even maxing out the bandwidth of PCI 2.0, and anyone saying that we are is really, truly clueless. There's been tons of articles and tons of videos, people debunking 3.0 versus 2.0 today, anyway.
Next question right here, too. Was it Thundercraft asked, how much would you have to spend to beat the consoles? And this was a touchy subject for a lot of people.
25 cents. Go to an arcade.
Yeah. But truth be told, if you're just looking
Pac-Man.
at just matching up numbers and stuff like that, there's some people saying that between $500 and $700 you can match the performance of a console, but that's not taking into account that the games were optimized for the consoles and everything to get on par perfect performance compared to the two. There's a lot more factors in that. It's all the way down to even the game itself and how it was ported.
That's true.
Yeah, so it's
All
a
right.
hard one to answer.
Okay, 5 more minutes, guys, and we're getting out of here. I went ahead and made the show go a little bit longer because we started late, and Jerry's hamster fell off the wheel. And
Yeah, I know. Goddamn hamster, always doing that.
Jay, can you
Let's
recommend
see.
any build guides, any guides to OC the 8350? Yeah, go watch mine.
That's awesome. Good answer, Jay. Good answer.
There's only one you need to watch.
Oh my gosh. No, that was funny. I had somebody tweet me a couple of days ago, and they asked me, they saw like I posted it was my iRacing video. I posted my iRacing video. So this was last night. They sent me a message, and they're like, dude, that is an awesome simulator. What's on it? And I just replied back, and I was like, with the playlist. I was like, I have like a ton of videos that are exactly like, for each component, there's a devoted video for that simulator.
Well, I just
And he's
recently...
like, wow, thanks. But he just recently found me. So it was like, he didn't know.
I don't get on to people when they're like, hey, you should do a video about, and I usually reply with like, hey, you should go watch the one I actually did, and I'll give them the link to it. Because I have 266 videos up there, and for the longest time...
Yeah.
For the longest time, my playlists were in shambles, so I just recently took the hours and hours it took to kind of organize it a bit. So, yeah,
No, it's funny when people do that, though. They'll come up to you and be like, hey, can you do another one of those room tour videos? And it's like, I just did one like 2 days ago, and I send them the link, and they're like, thanks, because they only knew the original, and they didn't read the description to see the updated link. A lot of people don't read descriptions on YouTube.
My room
Just read
tour...
descriptions, guys. Read the description.
Well, remember YouTube used to expand it by default. Now they roll it up. It's like...
Yeah.
People don't click those little arrows, man. That's why in some videos I redirect them. I'm like, guys, look down in there. There's something down right there that you want to read. Trust me.
Yep. Somebody was asking, will updating to 4770K help with video editing versus my 4570 in Adobe CS6? And my personal answer to that is probably not, because most of your rendering and everything is all going to be done on the GPU now. What do you think?
I will concur in that you probably are only going to see maybe a 15 to 20% improvement, which I guess is a lot in hindsight.
That's a decent improvement if you
But
get
I'm
that.
speaking from being used to rendering on my near 5 gigahertz 3770 to rendering on my 4670K at CES, which does not have hyperthreading.
Mm-hmm.
I was shocked at how well it rendered. It still rendered in about 110% of real time. So it was only about 10% slower. It took about 10% longer than the video was to render it, which I was amazed. I was like, is there hyperthreading really not helping this much?
That's pretty amazing, because I still can't get that kind of performance for some damn reason. Everything I
take you,
render
like,
seems
hours?
to take 1.5 times the time to render it. It's not that bad, but I mean, it's still pretty bad. And you have more layers than I do and everything. We need to...
Oh yeah, I think I did a video once that had like 17 layers.
Yeah, and I think the max I've ever had is like maybe 5.
Yeah.
It's like I don't get really crazy like you do.
Jay, your video didn't work when I tried to OC my 8350. Well, if you follow my video and you listen to what I say about this is the methodology of overclocking and tuning. You've got to then apply it to your CPU. You can't just follow my settings and say,
Yeah,
hey,
not all CPUs will use the same. Same with GPUs too.
I've never found 2 CPUs that will identically clock.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Yeah, you've got to. In those videos, I'm not saying set it to this, hit apply, boom, you're done. I'm saying this is what we change, this is what it does. This is what you need to change because of this. You then have to take the methodology of checking the stability, start small, and keep bumping it up till you find your max. You have to follow the theory, not step by step settings wise. You have to do the legwork on that.
All right, CS Ninja. Should we be excited about the Oculus Rift? I love the Oculus Rift, but is that company ever going to ship the damn thing? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. This thing seriously has been in development for years and years and years. There's SDKs you can buy that are held together with spit and bubble gum and shit, but they keep trying to improve it because people are getting sick from the motion. The screen technology isn't quite there yet. It's like they're way ahead of their time, and they're just waiting for all the right components to come into alignment to where it's exactly what they want to ship.
Yeah.
So, but I'm wondering how long the company can stay alive and fund itself for that moment to happen. But yes, I am super excited. I want one bad.
And I can't give 2 shits about it because I'm claustrophobic and I can't do the I have two very different visioned eyes. I can't do the individual screen like that close to my face.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I have very different vision in my eyes.
Oh, that sucks, man.
So that's why
there's
3D
new technology.
That's why 3D doesn't work with me. I can't watch 3D movies.
Did you see that new technology that they're working at, where instead of having a screen that you look at, it has a projector that actually projects the image into your eyeball on the back of your retina upside down?
Oh, that sounds safe.
Well, they claim it was, but I mean, they had it on tested, but they said it actually looked really sharp and really good. It just wasn't a full encompassing view. It was like looking at
it injects the image with a needle.
Yeah. It actually, you got to drill a small hole at the base of your skull and solder some wires onto your vertebrae. But yeah, it's pretty cool.
All right, guys. Well, one more question. We'll do one more question and we'll get out of here because I have some video making to do tonight.
Alienware or Microsoft Xbox One? Well, PCs.
How many Microsoft Xbox Ones are we talking about?
Yeah, I know. I was going to say, does Alienware even make a computer that's that low end? I don't think so.
If you say fuck the Alienware, you could get an Xbox One, a PS4, and build a low end PC,
and a Wii U, and even an Ouya.
And take your wife out to dinner, and/or get a hooker, whatever you're into.
True story, Jay. True story. Yeah. All right, guys, we got to wrap this up.
Yes, we've got work to do. Guys, thanks for hanging out with us tonight, as always. Interesting guest next week. Now, I'm not planning on doing guests every single week. It's just kind of lined up that way. Next week, we're going to actually be joined by a viewer. Now, before you guys all start messaging me saying, how do I get on TikTok? How do I get on TikTok? He donated to my campaign for CES, and he donated enough to get the perk of join me on a TikTok. So me and Jerry, we're gonna make it nice and interesting for him. We're gonna be very, very professional, and we're gonna be very, very current events.
Yeah, it'll be a fun one. You guys will not want to miss this. This is going to be the most epic tech talk in the history of tech talks.
Yeah, and I'm probably going to have to field a shit ton of messages now saying, how can I get on TikTok? But anyway, guys, the way you get on TikTok is you come and watch and hang out with us each and every week. I've been JayzTwoCents. Jerry, sign off.
Yep. Take it easy, guys. It's been fun. Come on over to Twitter and yak at us after the show. Take it easy.
Absolutely, guys. Roll the intro, outro thingy.
Yeah, that thing.
We look so dorky in that thing. I love it.
Dude, you couldn't have done it better. That is awesome. You got the stats for the show, sir?
Yep, we're signing off right now. Bye!
Bye-bye!
Had to let it roll out. I don't want to cut it off again. All right, see ya!